Ravens had a pretty good offseason, didn't they? All the way dating back to free agency, where they kept a lot of their own guys. They added a few new pieces. And then moving forward to the draft, where the Ravens absolutely crushed it. They got some guys that are ready to make an impact right here, right now. Then some guys that are ready for the future, and then some depth pieces too. But along the way, it seems as if a lot of people, a lot of Ravens fans included, have forgotten one of the big signings that could help do so much for this football team. And I think it was no coincidence that today, at the start of the Baltimore Ravens OTAs, they gave us a nice reminder, and that was DeAndre Hopkins. Man, I've been somebody that's been guilty myself of when we talk about the Baltimore Ravens and their wide receiver room, we talk about Zay Flowers, we talk about Mark Andrews, we talk about Isaiah Likely, we talk about Rashad Bateman, and I'm just including pass catchers as a whole. But a lot of times myself, and my apologies, I'm sorry, D-Hop, I forget to mention him. A future Hall of Famer, somebody who's just a straight up baller. And I've been slipping. So that's my apologies on that. Because what DeAndre Hopkins can bring to these Baltimore Ravens, it's a beautiful thing. Now, recently, I've seen a couple of different people bring up Odell Beckham Jr. And I saw one guy yesterday, he brought up, do you think that the Ravens should go after Odell Beckham Jr.? Should they sign Odell Beckham Jr.? Because ain't nobody signing him right now. And the most of people's consensus answer was no. And the Ravens shouldn't. Odell Beckham Jr., when he was here, he was cool. He did his thing. He was a vibe, man. Odell Beckham Jr., he fit right in with the Baltimore Ravens. Loved the energy that he brought. But it was a one-year thing. It was a one-off. And he was a big part of why Lamar Jackson even re-signed with the Ravens in the first place. But somebody else who Lamar Jackson also requested, we got him now. And my guy Hezo, he asked a question yesterday. He said, do you think that DeAndre Hopkins will have a better season than an Odell Beckham Jr. did for the Baltimore Ravens? And my immediate answer was yes. And it ain't got nothing to do with health. It ain't got nothing to do to where I feel like, oh, man, well, at this point in the career, DeAndre Hopkins is so much better than Odell Beckham Jr. was, even though I think he is. Especially where he is at this point in his career while being on the Baltimore Ravens versus where Odell was. Because DeAndre Hopkins, he been playing for the past, 9, 10 years. Odell Beckham Jr., he was about a year and a half, 2 years removed from playing football. So he was not in the best football shape. He was straight. He did his thing, but he was not in the best football shape. And he was still dealing with some injuries and whatnot. But anyway, with DeAndre Hopkins, the reason that I feel like he is going to be a lot better for the Ravens than Odell Beckham Jr. was is simply because of where the Ravens are at right here, right now. We've talked about this before. Their offense is just so much mature from where they were at when they first got Odell Beckham Jr. Because if you recall, Odell Beckham Jr. came through. That's when Todd Monken, he came through. So we were having a fresh start as far as our offense. That's when Zay Flowers, he came through. Rashad Bateman, he was still here as well. Obviously, Mark Andrews was too. But a lot of guys, Isaiah Likely, but a lot of guys were new to the team, but everybody was new to the system, including Lamar Jackson. But now we've watched this offense. We watched it in the first year take major strides. We watched it in the second year take way more major strides. We watched the maturity of our wide receivers, just how they took another step forward. We watched the maturity of our tight ends. Even though Mark Andrews, he was already pretty mature, but we saw Isaiah Likely continue to be an integral part of this Baltimore Ravens offense. We saw what having a superstar with Lamar Jackson, we saw what that got to look like with a Derrick Henry and how he just alleviated not only a lot off of Lamar Jackson, but off the entire football team. So that was a beautiful thing to see. But the reason that I feel like DeAndre Hopkins, that he can absolutely just crush it this year. And I ain't saying, oh, DeAndre Hopkins about to put up 1,000 yards. If he does, that'd be nice. But I don't expect him to do that. But for what his role is going to be, it was expected to be. It's expected to be like the number 3 guy. And I expect him maybe like 600 yards, maybe like 6, 7 touchdowns, something like that. But his impact, just him being available, him being ready, that can go such a long way for these Baltimore Ravens. And we got to see that last year, unfortunately, because there were times when Rashad Bateman, he would leave the game with an injury and he wouldn't return. So we were down a guy. It was like, oh, okay, we still got by. But then we saw at the very end of the year, Zay Flowers, he left the game against the Browns. And we ain't have him for the whole playoffs. So having somebody like a DeAndre Hopkins in that spot, somebody who has not just been a starter, because a lot of people have just been starters throughout their career, but somebody who's like really been a starter, really been a true number one guy. Having him as your third wide receiver, this is something that we cannot forget. We can't just let it slip by. We can't just be like, oh, yeah, we got DeAndre. No, because DeAndre Hopkins, paired with a Lamar Jackson, paired with a Derrick Henry, paired with an offensive line that we're going to talk about later this week, paired with a Zay Flowers or Rashad, you know the drill already. But a DeAndre Hopkins paired with this Todd Monken offense in his third year with the level of maturity that they are at right now, that's dangerous. It really is. And DeAndre Hopkins is a name that needs not to be slept on at all anymore, because he could be, along with Lamar, along with Derrick Henry, along with Todd Monken, along with John Harbaugh, along with everybody, they are an integral part of the reason why this year we hope that our Baltimore Ravens end up becoming world champions again. Now, we know they already had a zero sugar cereal that tastes great, but Magic Spoon decided to pop out with the treats too. Now you know I'm with it. Their treats are crispy, crunchy, and airy, and they don't have that chewy stickiness like protein bars do, which is a lot more ideal for us that are always on the go. Their flavors are double chocolate, chocolate peanut butter, blueberry muffin, and my personal favorite, marshmallow. Oh, yeah. Sorry, I was tired of just talking about it. I had to take a bite, and I regret nothing. Now, not only do they have great flavor, these treats are high protein, no sugar, so they're really, really good for carb-conscious lifestyles. Each treat has 11 to 12 grams of protein, 1 gram of sugar, and just 1 to 2 grams of net carbs, so you can always get the fuel that you need on the go. But it doesn't stop there. Magic Spoon also popped up with the granola. Flavors that it comes in are honey almond, mixed berry, dark chocolate almond, and peanut butter. And the granola has 13 grams of protein and 0 added sugar. So Magic Spoon just taking it up level by level. They just continue to step up their game, because you already had the cereal that was 0 sugar with 13 to 14 grams of protein and 4 to 5 grams of net carbs per serving, but they decided, you know what, that's not enough, we need to do more. So they gave us protein treats and granola too. But I know what you're wondering now, how can you get your hands on these? Well, I'll tell you. You can use my code TKIC, or just click the link in the description. Try Magic Spoon treats or granola today and get $5 off. You can also find Magic Spoon in Amazon or your nearest grocery store. And Magic Spoon is so confident in their product, it's backed with a 100% happiness guarantee. So if you don't like it for any reason, they'll refund you your money, no questions asked. So click the link in the description to go to magicspoon.com/TKIC or scan the QR code on the screen for $5 off. I know you're gonna love it. And like we previously mentioned, today is the start of OTAs for the Baltimore Ravens. Let's look at the schedule, courtesy of Jamison Hensley. He said, the Ravens opened the organized team activities portion of their voluntary offseason workout program today. Now, it's very, very important. Special shout out to DeAndre Hopkins being there, because he's a veteran. He done been in this game a long time. He done been to a lot of training camps. He done been to a lot of off seasons. This is voluntary. So the fact that he's in the building, that's a beautiful thing. And he trying to be set up for success this year. But anyway, let's remember that this is voluntary. Guys do not have to be there. So let's not trip out. Let's not do too much just because, oh, this guy's not there. Oh, we don't see him. Where is he? Let's remember that. But anyway, he said, Jamison Hensley said, it's the first of 10 days of OTAs. So some Ravens going to be in the building for a little minute. He said the first media availability for OTAs is tomorrow. It is on Wednesday. So Ravens already put it on their YouTube channel about the presser. John Harbaugh going to speak. I'm sure some other people are going to speak as well. I ain't even going to say nothing because I don't want to set nobody expectations up. But I would assume that they're going to have a certain somebody who we all love hearing from speak tomorrow. But we'll see. I ain't going to say no names. Anyway, he also said no live contact is permitted. So ain't no hitting out there. Y'all ain't hitting nobody. Not yet, at least. He said, but 7-on-7. So the Ravens want to do a little tournament, 7-on-7 while they get OTAs, they can. But 7-on-7, 9-on-7, and 11-on-11 drills are permitted. So they're good to go with that. So, but no contact, no hitting, none of that. But you can go through your drills. Now, a couple of weeks ago, the NFL, they dropped those official schedules, and it was fun watching everybody's release videos and whatnot. But with the Baltimore Ravens schedule, obviously those games are subject to change depending on how the Baltimore Ravens are doing and depending on how the teams that they are going against are doing at that time. But we did get an update for the Baltimore Ravens preseason schedule because one of those games was to be determined on when it was going to be, but that is official now. So for Ravens preseason schedule, week 1 on August 7th is versus the Colts. That's at 7 p.m. Then week 2 at the Dallas Cowboys. That should be a little fun one. I know it's preseason, but still. Week 2 at the Dallas Cowboys, Saturday, August 16th at 7 p.m. Then week 3, this was the one that had that asterisk on it where it's like, okay, where's it going to be? When's it going to be? What's happening with that? But versus the Commanders. We play the Commanders like every year in the preseason. This is an annual thing. But anyway, week 3 at Washington is going to be Saturday, August 23rd at 12 p.m. So that's going to be an early one. But that game being at 12 p.m., that's going to get us conditioned for the regular season because the games, a lot of them start at 1 p.m. Well, not the Ravens in the very beginning of the season because we prime time from jump, baby. But just want to let y'all know about the preseason schedule. Now we reach my favorite part of these videos where we get to feature your questions. If you would like to take part in it, send an email to teamkeepitclean@gmail.com. Or for the patrons, you can send your question in a DM on Patreon. And if you would like to join them, you can go to patreon.com/engravenviz. Now, there's somebody who recently did that. Shout out to the newest Team Keep It Clean Patreon, my guy Spanky 410. So Spanky, we love you. Spanky, we appreciate you. Spanky, you real for becoming a Team Keep It Clean patron. I appreciate that, my friend. So thank you for that. Now, let's get into our first question that came from my guy, Justun. And I like the spelling of that, Justin. That's Justun. Not Justin, but Justun. But here we go. He said, hey, my name is Justin. What's up, Jay? He said, this is my first time sending something. Been watching since the beginning of last season. Hey, appreciate that. Thank you, man. He said, but W, team, keep it clean. Hope you and everyone stay blessed. Love to see the growth on the channel. Hey, appreciate that. Thank you. He said, to get to my question, though, me and my homie always argue about Lamar. He says he thinks Lamar is a top 10 player, but not a top 10 quarterback. To me, that don't make sense. I'm with you. To me, that don't make sense. He said, I'm curious to, so your friend is saying that Lamar Jackson is a top 10 player overall, but he's not a top 10 quarterback. So, yeah, your friend, they lost me with whatever their criteria is, and the numbers just don't make sense. A top 10 player, but not a top 10 quarterback. So you're saying that maybe your friend's putting Lamar Jackson at 11 for quarterbacks then? I guess he's saying that Lamar Jackson, as a player, overall, he's top 10, but there are 10 quarterbacks that are better than Lamar Jackson, and I guess better than some of those players who are, it just doesn't make sense. I feel like it just doesn't, it's not right. But everybody's entitled to their own opinion, and we respect it. We don't agree with it, but we respect it. He said, I'm curious to know if you would say that. And he said, everyone stay blessed at Team Keep It Clean. Yeah, no, because it just doesn't go. Like, how can somebody be a top 10 player? There's something that I'm not understanding. How can somebody be a top 10 player? Because top 10 player that's when you are one of the top 10, one of the best out of everybody. Quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers, tight ends, offensive line, defensive line, linebackers, cornerbacks, safeties, all that, kickers, punters, everything. You're one of the best players, top 10 players in the league. So you're one of the top 10 players in the entire NFL, but you're not a top 10 quarterback? That ain't making no kind of sense. Shout out to Coach, man. Shout out to Sip the Tally, man. Because next question actually came from him. He said, long time. I love you, Coach. He said, long time watcher, first time submitting a question. He said, hope the family is well and hope to see you at a game this season. Hey, that's the plan, man. You already know what time it is, man. And we're going to talk more But shout out to Coach, man. Before we even get into it, shout out to him. Shout out to everything that he has been doing. And I know, like, and I know it's real from all of y'all. When y'all say hope that the family is well, but for Coach, like, anytime we link up, anytime we talk, anytime we do work together, one of the first things he always asks, hey, how's my boy Carter doing? How's Carter doing? And how the rest of the family, and I appreciate that like crazy, because that's real, man. That's real. And thank y'all for everybody that always be checking on the family, wishing well to the family and stuff. That means a lot. It really does, because they the family, man. They the immediate family. Y'all the immediate family too now. Don't get it twisted. Y'all in here too, baby. But, you know, a family is my family. And that's who all of this is for. Everything. So I appreciate y'all a lot, man. Because they got a lot to do with all of this too. Because they are very supportive. All three of them. Even the dog's supportive too. They like, hey, how we going to get dog food? We don't work, we don't eat. But yeah. So anyway, I appreciate that. But anyway, he said, to my question, with Keaton Mitchell being fully healthy, do you think he can beat Justice Hill out for a running back too? Ooh, and he said, shout out to the team, keep it clean, and coach out. No, I don't. I don't, because I feel like with the Baltimore Ravens, that's a really good question, Ever, especially with him being healthy, especially like he's that lightning in the bottle. But experience. Justice Hill got that leg up on him with experience. And that means so much, especially, I mean, with John Harbaugh. It'd be one thing, say, for instance, we got a new head coach. If we got a new head coach, then I think it could be a little more up for grabs. Because a new head coach, he could be like, all right, clean slate for everybody. Obviously, Derrick Henry will still be the number one guy. But that number two spot between Keaton Mitchell and Justice Hill, a new coach could be like, oh, well, it's up for grabs. May the best man win. Let's have a little open competition. But with John Harbaugh, it's not going to be that. And that's not a knock at John Harbaugh, because it worked. It's been working for the past 2 years, and it's been working wonderfully. Justice Hill has been amazing as that number two runner. He's been great, phenomenal, man. And I think the Baltimore Ravens, they have that trust in a Justice Hill. With Keaton Mitchell, I feel like they wouldn't put their full trust in him, because 2 years ago, he's an undrafted rookie free agent. They wouldn't just hand it to him like that. But then last year, 2 years ago, he ended up getting hurt. Then last year, he came back, but he wasn't fully all the way back yet. So I feel like if it's somebody that hasn't been in that role before, and then recently they've been having a little bit of injury issues. I know it's a one-off, and he's still dealt with the previous injury, because he wasn't all the way right yet last year. So it ain't like it's an ongoing thing, like, oh man, this guy injury prone. I'm not saying that at all. But I feel like with the Baltimore Ravens, they already know Justice Hill. He did it. He got it. He could hold it down, and he held it down. He did it. So I think they would just continue that. I still think they will and need to find a role for Keaton Mitchell. What that role is going to be is tough. It's tough because, again, you got a Derrick Henry, killed it last year. You got a Justice Hill in his role. He killed it last year. With Keaton Mitchell, where do you fit him in at? And not just as a kick returner. Not just that. Where do you fit him in on the field? Where do you put him at? I think this year, the Baltimore Ravens are in a much better position than they were last year to figure that out, because last year, offseason, Keaton Mitchell wasn't ready, obviously. He wasn't there. But this year, offseason, he's there. This year, he's healthy. He's ready. So this will allow Todd Monken and his mature offense, like we talked about earlier in the video, this will allow him even more time to get Keaton Mitchell adjusted and to really find out what Keaton Mitchell is going to be for this Baltimore Ravens team in 2025.